Okay, last topic. We're talking about dividing rational expressions. So, just a review of the rules. Um, you have to factor first if you can, and you're always looking for a factor in the numerator and a factor in the denominator to cancel. You can't have both in the numerator or both in the denominator. Now, it is slightly different with dividing. When you divide, I want you to think back when you were in elementary and you were a little kid and you were doing stuff like 3/4 divided by 2/3. Well, the first thing you had to do, I've heard it said, keep, change, flip. You had to change it to multiplication and you took the reciprocal of the one in the back. And then you were able to reduce if you could. There's no way to reduce that, so that's just 9/8. We multiplied straight across now. Okay, there's no equal sign in between. You're not cross multiplying, you're multiplying straight across. Okay, so here we go. We're going to start with monomials again. In this case, we just need to rearrange things. Keep the first one, change the operation, flip the second fraction. Then find matches. Now that we've turned the second one upside down, you have an A in the top and an A in the bottom. And 3 and 6 have a common factor. 3 goes into 3 once, 3 goes into 6 twice. I think that's it. We just got to multiply straight across. That's a 1 times 5 is 5. And then we have 2b over here in the bottom. That's as good as it gets. All right, let's upgrade just a little bit. We still have to factor. And if I were you, I would factor in the same step that I flipped. If that makes you uncomfortable, by all means, break it down into 2 steps. It's just going to take up more paper, but if that's what you need to do, then do so. But I'm going to go ahead and factor. Traditional trinomial, what two numbers multiply to 2 and subtract to 1? Well, that'd be 2 and 1. And the signs are different, and the big one is plus. Yes, I apologize. I've got a wiggle in my board, so all my stuff looks a little broken there. Let's look at the denominator here. It is a trinomial, but I noticed something. Do you notice something about your numbers? Let's take out a 3. That's going to leave me x squared plus 3x plus 2. Yeah, it's going to take me a little bit longer because I do believe we can factor that thing again. But we'll do it in the next step. Let's do our keep, change, flip. So our division turns to multiplication. Now, what do you do with this? We're supposed to flip, but I don't see a fraction. Do you? But you know there's a fraction there because you can stick anything over 1. So when you flip it, you got 1 in the top and x minus 1 in the bottom. So hopefully that makes you feel comfortable. All right, we're going to just copy down the top because everybody has to wait patiently on this little denominator to finish factoring. What are 2 numbers that multiply to 2 and add to 3? Well, it's still 2 and 1, but this time it's both plus signs. Keep this. Again, everybody's waiting on that one. Now that we got him completely factored, we can find matches. I have an x minus 1 and an x minus 1. And remember, it has to be the entire binomial. Those are glued together. You can't just take parts. The x plus 2 goes with the x plus 2. And I think that's it. Okay, see if you remember, there is nothing left in the top. So we have to put a 1. It needs to shout to the world that all the goodie is down in the bottom. You got a 3, and you also have x plus 1. So remember, if you have a binomial with a monomial, you have to wrap your binomial in parentheses. That's our answer. We're good to go. Last one. Now, I purposely did one that was a little bit tougher. Don't freak out just because you see 3 fractions. I wanted to show you this just in case you ever encounter them. It's a little strange because it's division up here at the front and multiplication in the back. The rule for division is keep, change, flip. Well, modify that for more than one fraction. Basically what that means is the one fraction that comes behind the division sign, that is the only one that flips. So since this fraction is behind a multiplication sign, you're going to keep it. And this one is the normal keep. So the only one flipping here is the one in the middle. So here we go. We're going to factor and we're going to flip at the same time. Oh, I sure would like to get rid of a 2, but can we? We have a 5 and a 3. No, no go. That means we got the hard kind of factoring. So 2m and m. I need 2 numbers that multiply to 3. Well, there's not many choices here. We just have to position things so that the middle terms subtract to 5. That means you got to build up bigger than 5. So 3 has to match with the 2, because that gives me 6m. And then if the 1 is here, 6m minus 1m, that gives me my 5. Signs are different. Big pair is negative. The other one is positive. All right, let's look at the bottom. It looks backwards to me. Probably looks backwards to you, but it's a difference of 2 squares. You can do square roots. You just have to maintain the same form. The square root of 9 is 3's. The square root of m squared is m. You need a minus, you need a plus. So we'll address them here in a minute. Just let it sit there. Okay, now here's our reminder. We're flipping. We're going to change this to multiplying. Can you do anything with 4m plus 4? I mean, can't do anything with the m's, but check it out. 4 and 2, I can take out a 2, right? But since he's in the top, I'm going to write him in the bottom. Take out a 2. 4 divided by 2 is 2m. 2 divided by 2 is 1. Y'all, I can't tell you how many people miss that. If you are pulling out something common out of a binomial, you should have a binomial in here. You cannot delete that term just because you took out the 2. Remember, you're dividing. You're not subtracting. 2 divided by 2 is 1. All right, now let's go back up here. Do you see what I see? Bunch of evens. So take a 2 out to start with. We can get rid of this little 2 out there. So if every term is divided by 2, we've got m squared plus m, and that's going to be 6. Okay? Now remember, this last fraction, he stays the same. You can't do anything with 2. And you can't factor m minus 2. I'm going to scroll this up just a little bit to give a little bit more space. Okay. We still have to factor. Guys, we're not done. This right here is going to factor again. So everybody else needs to be patient, which means copy. It's not going to kill you. Your hand won't fall off. So just copy it down. Hang on to your 2. Don't throw them in the trash. Here we go. We're factoring. It's a traditional trinomial. We need 2 numbers that multiply to 6 and subtract to 1. That would be 3 and 2. We have m and m. Signs are different. The big one's plus. All right. Everything else, same old song. We're copying. Now we're ready. Everybody's pulled apart, so here goes. This is the fun part because there's tons of things that match. Just remember, when you do binomials, it has to be the whole thing or none of it. So like this guy right here, even though he's not wrapped in parentheses, you're doing m minus 2 or none of it. So you can't just do this 2 because you want to. Okay. Ooh, m minus 2, m minus 2. Ooh, let's see here. 2m plus 1. And there's a bunch of 2's floating around here. They're little monomials. Can you cancel out all 3 of them? I hope you said no. Remember, it's like the match game. You have a 2 left over. He's going to be in your answer. There's nothing else for him to cancel with. Now we get to the fun part, all this backwards stuff. Is it okay to cancel around a plus sign? Is m plus 3 the same thing as 3 plus m? Yes, it is. That's the commutative property of addition. That's good. But do we have a commutative property of subtraction? No, we do not. If you watch the other video, we are able to reduce these though. But remember, you pick up something. You pick up a negative. So don't forget to put the negative in your answer. Now if you go looking through here, it looks like everything canceled, but we've got 2 little things. We got our negative, and we have our 2, and everything else is gone. So isn't that fun? These things are great. You took that big mess of a problem, and this thing reduced to -2. I hope you like it, because I do.